r/ask Reddit by Reddit Finance. What is the poorest financial decision you have ever seen somebody make? My sister-in-law just told me that she hasn't eaten fruit or vegetables in a month because they can't afford it. They just bought a second car after spending their taxes to modify their car, which immediately gave it engine trouble. A couple we knew financed a puppy. How you could spend quadruple digits on one is beyond me. Not just stupid financially, but there are plenty of rescues that need homes. How do you even get financing on a puppy? Was it a bank loan? Or do pet shops now have doggy finance like at a car dealership? They do indeed have puppy finance exactly like at a car dealership. I knew a dude in high school that inherited around $50,000 after his grandfather died. He blew it all within 6 months by purchasing everything in excess. For example, when the new Call of Duty game came out, he bought 10 copies just in case I break all the discs. He would buy extra furniture for their house and bought extra storage space to store this extra furniture. Not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. I used my inheritance to buy a $14,000 camper trailer. Took it out on its maiden voyage a week later and flipped it in a pop-up snowstorm. My husband said he added it to the insurance the day after we bought it. He did not trust but verify. People at TV shows that go for the double or nothing when they're at the $500,000. One of my friends got a loan for tuition in college, paid for his classes, and had about $300 left over. So he goes to the mall and buys a samurai sword from one of those knife shops. Then he buys a box of hugs, these little juices for kids that come in small barrel-shaped plastic bottles. He proceeds to throw the hugs into the air and cut them in half with a sword in a Kroger parking lot at 11 p.m. Note, he was unemployed at the time and spent about $260 of the $300 on this parking lot slaughterfest. When money is worthless and the barbarians are at the gates, you'll be thankful for his aid and glad he chose to train. While you were being frugal, I was studying the blade. Friend was told by his dad to always replace his used car every 3 years, even if it is still working just fine. Why? Now, because of constant trade-ins that are less than the value of the original loans and new used cars, new loans stacking up, and poor credit. My friend currently owes $35,000 and drives a 2009 Toyota that needs a lot of repairs. His first car was a perfectly fine Honda in perfect condition that I believe he could have paid off easily and would still be driving today. This friend also put his dad's name on his saving account with a full awareness that his dad is not trustworthy, and now that account has been emptied and given to his dad's mistress. I have a friend we'll call Mark. Mark is from a very wealthy family and has a history of poor financial decisions. Here's just one sequence of events. Mark becomes infatuated with a girl whose family owns a donut shop. He shows up there before it opens every day, spends the entire day in the shop, and gives this girl a $100 tip every time she serves him. Eventually the creepiness factor isn't worth the money. The girl's brother-in-law gets the bright idea to run a diversion. He asks Mark to start making donuts at home and create his own flavors. Mark promptly orders a $50,000 donut maker. When it arrives at his condo, it doesn't work. Does he pay for repairs or apply the warranty? No. Mark orders a second donut maker for the same price. This one works. So Mark actually makes good donuts, and the family sells them in their shop. But after maybe a month, Mark realizes he's spending too much time at home and isn't seeing enough of this girl. So what does Mark do? He buys the building next door to where she works. He opens his own donut company just so he can see her every day. I can go on. The story ends with the family fleecing him and his donut company going out of business. TLDR, rich friend had unhealthy attachment to girl, bought building next door to her. Edit, spelling. They had over $10,000 in credit card debt. Their father paid it off except for $500 because they were expected to contribute at least a little. They chose not to pay the remainder off. So now they have $10,000 in credit card debt. My father-in-law spent $6,000 for an online course on the introduction to the stock market. My sister-in-law and her husband have 3 kids and have $1.5K a month. He's the only one who works and she refuses to. Anyways, they always bitch about having no money and have GoFundMe pages up, but she spends tons on learning about her ancestors. She even hired a professional genealogist at a whopping $50 an hour. She's spent 1.5k so far in 6 months. They got that tax refund money, gotta blow it on something. Meanwhile her kids need dental work, wear clothes with stains and holes, and they live in a 2-bedroom shack in the ghetto, and their car is 20 years old and hardly runs. But hey, at least she knows she's related to someone from Iceland 100 years ago. So stupid. I watched a sorority sister sink thousands of dollars into an MLM. When that one flopped and left her with like 5,000 unsold leggings, she took out a loan to invest in yet another MLM to recoup her costs from the first one. So, I guess that counts as 2 extremely poor decisions. When I found out the cost it took to buy into LuLaRoe, I almost fell off my chair. Those women worked for free for months to earn back the initial investment, then maybe earned a few dollars an hour in actual sales in the end. LuLaRoe was brilliant in their scammy marketing. Have someone pay you to do all the work for free. Thousands for leggings and maternity-like t-shirts. The real LuLaRoe customers are the consultants. It is really quite heartbreaking. I've seen a handful of people getting out, still $10,000+ in the hole. I bought 2 whole Bitcoin when it was at $300. I sold it when it hit $3,000, so I made about $5,400. I was psyched. A friend of my fiance told me that I'm an idiot and bought 1 Bitcoin when it was at 17k. He is still waiting for it to get back up. I agree that I sold a little early, but heck, I turned a profit. A person I know invested all his savings in buying Bitcoin at their peak, only to see them go down in value ever since. Generally speaking, if the major news networks are talking about the price of something, it's a bad time to buy. I have a friend that did this. You want to know how he got all the money? Car loans with his house as collateral. He has a lot of money, but he didn't have the flow to put it all into Bitcoin. He bought in at like 18k, and I mean he got like 100k worth at a ridiculous interest rate. I think he ended up owing about 60k and has nothing to show for it. I was lucky enough to be there to stop it from happening. I was working a summer job with my cousin and he wanted to buy a computer. He had already made a series of poor financial decisions, so he was going to finance the computer. That's not the bad decision. After I helped him spec out a computer, he called and ordered one with me on speaker. This was back in the day, and told the rep that he wanted to finance. He was placed on hold, and when the rep came back he said he would be able to finance my cousin with an APR of 24.99%. Still not the bad decision. My cousin said okay. They made the transaction, and then the rep told my cousin that they had a special, and that he could consolidate all of his outstanding debts into this one account. My cousin looked at me like, hey, what a deal. I did everything I could to tell him to not do that. After he hung up he asked me, why not? If you add up all the interest rates I'm paying, it's more than 25%. I never questioned why we have a debt crisis in this country after that. Friend took his $20,000 in hospital bills that he was paying off with no interest and paid it all off with a credit card that had interest. Blew me away. I still don't understand the thought process there. Okay, so this one is only a few dollars, but it's by far the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I'm a supervisor in a large manufacturing facility. We have approved drink bottles that all drinks must be in to protect our products. We give them one free when they start, and replacements are $3. My team leaders have been instructed to remove any unapproved bottle from the shop floor, and then talk to the employee about why their drink was removed. One night, a guy has an unapproved bottle from the vending machine, $1.55, in the shop floor. My team leader follows protocol and removes it and counsels the employee. Less than an hour later, there's a new unapproved bottle, another $1.55, at his station. He admitted that both bottles were his and said he had them because he couldn't afford an approved bottle. He spent $0.10 more than an approved bottle on drinks that promptly got thrown away and lost his job over this. My brother and I worked at a liquor store in our late teens/early 20s. We worked with this character named Jerry. Jerry had a gambling problem and couldn't control himself. He used to walk to the corner store and get scratch tickets several times a day. Well, my bosses decided it would be a great idea to get into having lottery for the store as well. One day my brother, myself, and Jerry are sitting around the store with nothing much going on. And Jerry says, yeah, we just got these new $20 tickets in. They say 1 in 5 is a winner. Come on, what do you think the chances are I'll get one? So since Jerry is fairly irritating on a regular basis, we decide to stir the pot. Jerry, there's no way you're going to hit. So he rips one of the $20 tickets off the roll and scratches it. Nothing. He says, how the next one? The next one's gotta be a winner. Again nothing. Well, now he's getting irritated. So he rips off another and another. 4 in a row. $0. He then points to the sign that's under it saying your chances of winning are 1 in 5. He smiles and says, this one has to be it. He tears it off, scratching vigorously, and stares at the ticket looking dejected. We chime in being a-holes. Oh man, did you win, Jerry? He finally responds, no, nothing. Then looking up, realizing he'll have to put in $100 for the 5 tickets he just stripped off the roll. Now Jerry is perpetually broke and just been through a divorce. He cheated on his wife, so she left, and certainly doesn't have $100 to his name. He then says, yeah, I'll pay the bosses back later. Then walks out back to be alone for a few minutes. I've heard of how people like to gamble, but nobody taught me how absurd the drive for a winner can make you. Quite like Jerry.
I dated at Thanksgiving 1995. Just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million.